Okay, year 10. So for this slide, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the definition of verbs, adverbs, adjectives, and nouns. So this is going to be important for the next task, and it's also something that you really need to know. So you will have done this in Key Stage 2 and a little bit in Key Stage 3, and it's something that people forget quite easily. So that's why I'm going through it again for you. So you have two sentences on your slide. You have the bright yellow sun is shining in the sky, and you have quickly the boy ran towards the goal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the first sentence and talk about the jobs that the different words are doing, and hopefully that will help you see whether a word is a noun, a verb, an adverb, or an adjective. Now, there are lots of different other sorts of words, and some of the words in the sentence won't be a verb, an adverb, a noun, or an adjective, but we're not going to worry on focusing on those at the moment. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a chance to have a think about the second sentence, a little bit of time to pause and consider answers, and then give you the answers. So this slide you're kind of working through with me as I'm doing the video. So we're going to look at 4 different sorts of verb classes. We're going to look at verbs. Now, most of you are quite happy that verbs are action words. It shows the action or the state of the noun in the sentence. So there might be words like speak, run, walk, laugh, but verbs can also be about state. So in the sentence, he is sad, is actually a verb because it's talking about the state that the boy is in. So just be aware that is, was, are, be are all actually verbs, and they quite often confuse students. Adverbs are words that change the meaning of other words. Now, you're often taught in Key Stage 2 that adverbs end in ly and adverbs change the meaning of verbs. And absolutely, adverbs often do end in ly and they often do change the meaning of verbs. But adverbs can actually do lots more than this. Adverbs can actually change the meaning of adjectives or other adverbs. So you're probably used to a word like quickly being an adverb, but actually words like quite, really, and very are also adverbs because they change the meaning of other words. If I said to you that the cat was fat, you'd know that the cat was fat. If I said the cat was very fat, that makes you think of a cat that's even fatter because that word very changes the meaning of fat. If I said to you that the cat was quite fat, that makes your mind start to think that, oh, maybe the cat's a bit smaller than I thought. So those words like quite, really, and very have changed the meaning of how you think about the word fat. So we'll talk about those a little bit more in a minute. Nouns, you're quite used to nouns. Nouns are your objects, your people, your places. You can usually touch nouns, but sometimes nouns are things that you can't touch. So emotions like love, fear, and hate, they are all nouns as well. And adjectives, you're already used to adjectives. Adjectives are your describing words that describe nouns, so things like pretty, black, or tall. So let's look at that first sentence on the slide. The bright yellow sun is shining in the sky. And let's have a think about that sentence. So it's always easiest to identify your nouns first. So your nouns are the things that are being talked about in the sentence. So in this sentence, we are talking about the sun and the sky. So your nouns would be sun and sky. The next thing that's really good to try and work out after your nouns is what are those things doing? So we know the sentence is about the sun and the sky. What are the sun and the sky doing? So let's look at our sentence. The bright yellow sun is shining in the sky. Well, the sky's not doing anything. It's just there. It's just mentioned in the sentence. But the sun is doing something. The sun is shining. So actually we have 2 verbs in that sentence. We have the sun is shining. Now, those 2 words, is and shining, are working together to make our sentence work. If we just said the bright yellow sun shining in the sky, that actually isn't a complete sentence. We need the word is to make it a complete sentence. So is and shining are 2 verbs working together as one. The bright yellow sun is shining in the sky. So we've got our nouns, sun and sky, and we've got our verb, shining. Is shining. So let's have a look at the second sentence and see if we can work out the nouns and the verb together. So in the second sentence, we have quickly, the boy ran towards the goal. So let's try and figure out the 2 nouns. There are 2 things in that sentence that are being talked about. So what are those two things? Have a little think to yourself. Okay, so hopefully you got that boy and goal are the two nouns in that sentence. Now the goal in the sentence isn't doing anything, but what's the boy doing? And that will be our verb. So have another think about the sentence, and there is one verb in that sentence. Which word will the verb be? Quickly, the boy ran towards the goal. Have a little think. Okay, good. I think you probably managed to work out that the verb was ran. Lovely. Now, the next thing that's quite good to do is to work out the adjectives. So in sentence one, we actually only have one adjective, and I've picked this sentence on purpose because it's quite tricky. Lots of people will think there are two adjectives in this sentence. If you had to pick two, what are you going to pick? Absolutely, bright and yellow. But actually, only yellow is an adjective in that sentence. And that's because bright is an adverb in that sentence. It's not actually describing the sun, the word bright, it's describing the colour yellow. So you have to think really carefully about what the word is doing in the sentence. So in the sentence, the bright yellow sun is shining in the sky. The word yellow is an adjective. It's describing the sun. But bright isn't describing the sun. Bright is describing the colour yellow. It's changing the meaning of the word yellow. For example, if I said the pale yellow sun is shining in the sky, pale would be making our brains think of a much lighter shade of yellow. But this sentence is saying the bright yellow sun, which makes us think of a really vibrant colour for the sun. So in sentence number one, yellow is an adjective and bright is an adverb. Now in number two, I've actually been a little bit sneaky. I haven't actually put an adjective in there. But adjectives go before nouns. So where could we have put an adjective? What nouns could we have described in sentence two? You've already thought about the fact that boy and goal are our nouns, so our adjectives would go before those words. So what adjectives could we have put before the word boy? Quickly, the something boy ran towards the goal. Have a little think to yourself, what words could you have put in there? Okay, absolutely. It could have been to do with size, it could have been to do with age. We could have had quickly the young boy ran towards the goal. We could have had quickly the tall boy ran towards the small goal. So we could have put our adjectives in. Okay, there is an adverb in that sentence. Can you spot that adverb? Well done, good. So we've got a standard adverb in that sentence. We've got quickly, which is the sort of adverb that you're probably quite used to seeing. It's an ly word. And it's describing how the boy is running towards the goal. So a good way to spot adverbs is you can swap adverbs position around in a sentence and it will normally still make sense. So if you have an adverb at the beginning of a sentence and you pop it either around the verb or at the end of the sentence, your sentence will still make sense. Quickly, the boy ran towards the goal. The boy ran quickly towards the goal. The boy ran towards the goal quickly. So actually, you can see that with that adverb, I can actually take it out and move it around my sentence, which is really useful for sentence variety. Now, on the next task, it's going to ask you, I'm going to read a story, or you're going to read the story, and it's going to ask you to try and find some examples of verbs, adverbs, nouns, and adjectives. So if you get stuck, have a little watch through this video again, think about the examples I've talked through, and that should help you.